Hello everybody, this is JT Productions and welcome back to another preview and prediction video. Today I'll be accompanied by
AJVG23 on Instagram, AJ Van Gert. How we doing?
Glad to have you on. So today we'll be doing it on the Toledo Rockets. Last season Toledo went 7-6, 5-3 in the MAC with a loss to end the season against Middle Tennessee by 7 points in the Bahamas Bowl. So it was an okay season, but we'll see if they can improve that. On the roster, you have a redshirt sophomore quarterback in Daquan Finn. You have some pretty good pieces on the offense. You have only one sophomore, one true sophomore. You have two redshirt sophomores in the backfield with the quarterback and the running back. You have a transfer wide receiver and Michael Barkley coming in from TCU, so that's good. So, their offense, you have some pieces. Can they put it together? We'll see. They did lose Matt Landers off their offense, who, if you remember, made a crazy catch against Middle Tennessee State last year in the bowl game. So,
I'm looking here at this roster, and I'm seeing, they have a lot of senior talent, which is, always good whenever you're trying to make deep runs. And I'm not saying this team right here is going to go undefeated, but I think a 3 or 4 loss prediction would probably be up their alley. I think that would be out of the question.
Yeah. They also have a linebacker transfer in Deshaun Holt, who is projected to be starting. He's a redshirt junior, and he's coming over from Maryland. So, you get talent from a Power 5 team, that's always good.
Yeah, especially in the brand of football they play and I'd say the league, it's NCAA, but especially the conference they're in, if you get a Power 5 transfer, that could be a second-string player at somewhere like Vanderbilt that could come into your program that's, Toledo, and you're sitting here with a prospect that's leading your team that was not even in the rotation at a Power 5 school.
Oh, yeah. That's just like one man's trash is another man's treasure. So, you get that happening. You also have a 7th-year head coach, so that's going to help you out. You have a coach that knows what he's doing, has been there for a while. So, see what they do. So, week 1, you play what is this team? The LIU Sharks. I can't say I've ever heard of that, but you're playing at home in the Glass Bowl and a team that I've never heard of, so I'm going to say you get the win pretty easily.
I say it's a 21-point win over the LIU Sharks, who honestly maybe an FCS school.
Oh, they're definitely an FCS school. Week 2, you have another home game against one of the worst FBS schools in the country in the UMass Minutemen. They don't have Andy Isabella no more, so they're going to be...
Andy Isabella for the Cardinals is hell on earth in Madden, but for the college he went to, I say this is probably a game UMass is not going to win, and I think this is another game Toledo takes.
I agree. I think Toledo starts 2-0 before going to back-to-back road games, and the first one being on the road against a buzzsaw and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Now, the Ohio State Buckeyes, I think this is probably going to be a little bit different than week 1 and 2. I think this is absolutely a game Toledo, take it to the bank, has no chance of winning.
Oh, yeah.
I think that statistically, even on paper, you look at the heights, weights, the speed, the strength, Toledo just doesn't really have a chance here.
Oh, I totally agree. I know last year they gave Notre Dame a run for their money, and they almost, a little inside joke we had, if they had won that game, they would have been our named to Loga Tech by us for all the rest of time. But, they just didn't pull it out, so they lost that. They lost being able to be called in it, so they're going to lose this game.
Their loss.
Yeah. Then they have to go on the road to San Diego State, a very respectable Mountain West team. They're probably one of the best group of 5 teams as well. They're right up there with Boise State, Appalachian State, and teams like that. If you remember a couple of years ago, they had a running back named Rashad Penny, and he carried their team, but that's not relevant to this year, but they still have a good team. So I think you go on the road to a very hostile environment and drop another one to go to 2-2, back to 500.
I think San Diego State's it's a team that you may not have circled on your calendar getting ready to play, and I think that is a game that, you come into unprepared, a little dismoraled from the Ohio State loss, and I think it's a game you let slip.
I totally agree. The next week you start conference play on homecoming against Central Michigan. Central Michigan being coached by Jim McElwain, who is a former Florida head coach. He's actually had Central Michigan on the rise lately. They love to run the ball and have a good defense. But the thing is, you're playing at home, and Central Michigan, they're not a perfect team. They drop games like this all the time. I think you get them at a time to where they're vulnerable, and I think you get a win in the Glass Bowl to start our conference play.
I gotta go out and say that they are gonna beat this team right here. I don't see them losing 3 in a row, especially with a tenured head coach. He's gonna know how to light the fire under them to get them back to playing competitive football. So I think they do come back and get a win right here and break that 2-game loss streak.
It's good. Good work there. Next week, you go on the road to NIU. This is a pretty difficult team in the MAC. They're honestly one of the best teams in my opinion. They have Rocky Lombardi, who was transferred over last year, or the year before last, from Michigan State and was their starting quarterback, and he did very well. The thing is, you have a very veteran defense, and at this point, it's safe to say NIU is at least has 1 loss or undefeated. So I think NIU comes into this game a little bit overconfident and slips up a little bit and loses this game to Toledo. Toledo has 2 big conference wins under their belt now.
I gotta say NIU, a team that I believe probably gonna be pretty competitive within their conference. I think they come out and they beat the Toledo football team. I think that it's gonna be a good game. And honestly, if I'm wrong on this pick, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think this is a game that Toledo coughs up.
Okay, that's fair enough. Going to the next week, they play the Kent State Golden Flashes. Kent State lost Dustin Crum, the quarterback from last year. He was pretty much a lightning in the bottle for them, pun intended. But I just think they're not going to be good enough for a solid team like Toledo. So I think that Toledo gets the win there and goes on a 3-game winning streak for my predictions.
I think absolutely Kent State coughs this game up. I think they have no chance to compete with a very young, meanwhile being a experienced football team at Toledo. So I think this is a game that Kent State loses.
I agree there. So you get them bounce back with the Kent State win while having 3 wins. 3 consecutive wins. So that's good. Then they go on the road to Buffalo in Buffalo, New York. Now, if you've been keeping up with the videos, I had Buffalo starting off with a rough patch of games, but I had them turning it around and getting a pretty good win streak going by the end of the season. So let me just break it down for you. I think Buffalo is a very young team that has a good head coach behind them. So I think they get it turned around and get a big win against you. So I think you drop this game after you go on a 3-game winning streak against Central Michigan, NIU, and Kent State. Games like this happen, especially in the MAC. That's why they call it MAC Madness. So I think some MAC Madness happens here to start off a back-to-back road game stretch.
See, when I hear MAC Madness as a basketball fan, I think March Madness. And Buffalo sometimes makes deep tournament runs in men's basketball, but I don't think they will show that same success in football. And I think this is a game they lose, and Toledo goes on a 2-game win streak.
Okay, so we're at the same record, just different games won. Then they go back-to-back on the road to Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan, all the Michigan schools in the MAC are very solid teams. I think this is one of the lesser solid teams in the MAC. However, I think some of the demoralizing confidence is going to come over from the loss to Buffalo. So I think you drop this game to Eastern Michigan to get to go to 2 straight losses going into your bye week.
I think Eastern Michigan is a really competitive team, but I also feel like Toledo, like you said, they played their hearts out against Notre Dame, and one of the sayings that our football coaches always told us is any given day. And there were weeks out there we played against teams that we should have killed, and we lost to in overtime. And there were games where we went out and played where we thought we would have no chance, and we ended up winning by 3 touchdowns. So I gotta say, this game against the Eastern Michigan Eagles is one that Toledo's going to win.
Okay. So switching. Okay. So going to the bye week, I have Toledo at 5-3 or 5-4 right? Yeah, 5-4, and you have them at 6-3.
Yes.
Okay. Coming out of it, you play the Ball State Cardinals at home, and I think after that bye week, you had a fire lit under you by your head coach and just by your team in general, wanting to come out, compete, not get complacent, everything like that. I think you play your hearts out against Ball State, get a big win to get back on it, get a win after 2 straight losses to go to 6-4.
Yeah, after having a bye week, I really don't see this team getting stale or flat on their heels. I think that they see that, hey, bowl eligibility is right around the corner, and I think they're going to go ahead and secure it against the Ball State Cardinals.
I couldn't agree more. The next week, they play a mediocre team in the Bowling Green Falcons. You should take care of business here. Bowling Green, they've been kind of just treading water the past couple of years, even just being terrible flat out by having 3-win seasons. So I think you should take care of business here. Even though upsets are possible against Bowling Green, you've played them every year, so you should be able to find a way to win this game.
Little personal bias here. We played a Bowling Green High School when I was in high school in a basketball camp, and we got killed by them. So for the sake of that, regardless of talent level for the Bowling Green Falcons, Toledo by 40.
We'll take it. And finally, the last game of the year, you're on the road at Western Michigan. Like I said, the Michigan schools are all very good, but you're a very good team as well. I think that you finish the season off with a win against the Broncos with a good chance to make or even compete for the MAC championship.
I think that, especially, your Western Michigan, I can't say off the top of my head the last time I heard, oh man, and what about that run, Western Michigan's on. I think this is a game that Toledo closes out confidently and securely, and I think this is a game they built some momentum going up to the MAC championship with.
I totally agree. So there you go. I have them going 8-4, and did you have them going 9-3?
9-3.
Or hold on, you had them losing to Ohio State and San Diego State. Did you have them losing to Eastern Michigan?
I did not.
Okay, so you got them going 10-2.
10-2.
Huh. Interesting. So there you go. If you agree with my take, just let me know down in the comments. If you agree with AJ's take, then let me know in the comments. If you disagree with both of us, let us know. We'll just have a war in the comments. How about that? So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you to my associate for being on here with me.
Absolutely. Anytime. It's a pleasure.
Yes, and I hope you all have a great day, and go Dogs.